I pre-miss y'all. I do. I pre-miss you, but I'm also pre-napping. So it's what it is. Now, as I've said a couple of times already this week, just in terms of programmatic updates, while this is the last live show of today, meaning that from now until January the 2nd, it ain't gonna make no sense for you to try to call me. Ain't nobody gonna be answering the phones. Is not for this show. There are a couple of the other shows that will be live on Monday and Tuesday of next week. They'll let you know which ones they are, but this one won't be. And so it's been a really amazing, packed year. I cannot believe we're at the end of 2025. Remember when we were just talking about 2025 as a project? Which we're living. We're living right now. But yeah, I got to be honest with y'all. I need the rest. And I think all of you do as well, from whatever it is that you are engaged in. So do your best this week, and I should say not this week, but every day. Yes. But this weekend, going into next week, whether you have to be at the job every day or if you are able to get some time off, shout out to those who have PTO and those who are just saying, you know what, I can't, I'm tired. Whatever your condition is, try to squeeze in some rest. Right? Try to actively plan all your activities around rest. But for those of us who are not fortunate enough to be able to take some time where you can really be still, try to center and prioritize rest in the best way that you can. Maybe it's, you have to slip away from your desk for a little bit and just go take 5 minutes to walk up and down the hallway just to clear your head. Maybe it's just you open up a window and just stick your head out and just breathe in, 10 slow, deep breaths. Whatever it is you've got to do, this is a time for hibernation. I do not believe humanity is supposed to be working the way that we be working. Well, I shouldn't say humanity, because the rest of humanity don't do this. Americans do this. This is a very American thing. This overworking until you're exhausted thing. Other societies aren't really doing this so much. I saw a meme the other day where somebody from Norway was like, Donald Trump wants white from Europe to come to America. Sorry, we're not coming. Y'all's situation over there sucks. And they were basically like, you got gun violence every single day. You only give 2 weeks of vacation if you're lucky. Over here, we get a guaranteed 6 weeks of vacation. You have to pay for health care. Over here, we don't. Over there, if I get pregnant, I'm going to have to pray that I get 3 months of leave to stay home with my newborn. Over here, I get a full year. Some countries, a year and a half. So the Europeans have considered the Trumpian offer to make America a safe space for all the whites, and they are soundly rejecting it because they understand the assignment. Now, white South Africans, not so much, but they're an interesting bunch. Interesting bunch. But yeah, do what you can. These over the next couple of weeks, we're entering the solstice, which is a very important time. This is for those of us who thrive during the summer, these winter months can be really hard because, frankly, child, seasonal affective disorder is a thing, right? Like being not as happy because you ain't got as much access to the sun. That is a real thing. Dr. Damas has talked with us about that. We've had doctors on our routine checkup segments who've talked with us about that. And so, listen, it's time for hibernation. If you are in the northern hemisphere of this side of the planet, you need to be figuring out how to get your life, especially if you're melanated. I just believe epigenetically we were not meant to live in such cold climates. That's other people, yes, that it makes perfect sense, and the culture matches the climate, cold and frigid. That's not us. It's not really us. It's not. But yeah, we got a lot to get to today. Going to try to ease on into this break. But frankly, I am pre-missing y'all. I had such a good time yesterday on Karen Hunter's show. It was so much fun. I got to meet Amber Cabral in person. And, I've been listening to her podcast, Humaning Well. And I got to be honest with you, when you're trying to be a better person, this thing that we say that here we do Black Talklandia work, where we're trying to learn how to be better people who build better communities, and as a result, we're able to shape a better world. Amber Cabral's podcast helps you figure out the be a better people part. Like it's really, I'm encouraging you all to take a listen because Humaning Well, that's the name of the podcast on the Women's Empowerment Network. It's an amazing dive into the things that make us very human and how to do those things better, how to be better people. And that, for me, is a solid third of the work of Black Talklandia. Remember, it's the be better people who learn how to build better communities, and as a result, we can shape a better world. And it's the learning how to be better people that is so important. And in addition to everything that we talk about here, the work that Amber is doing on the Humaning Well podcast, just chef's kiss. It's the kind that's going to require you to think about some things and to really decide, are you ready for that better you? Because a lot of us say we want a better we, but we don't want to do the work of being a better me. You get it? We, me, us, you. But yeah, but that, and it's her podcast is a little differently timed. Like mine, Lurie breaks it down, comes out every single day, twice a day, because I'm gonna hit you with the hard news in the afternoon, but then we gonna make sure that we are holistically balanced in the morning with our moment of gratitude segment. But Amber's podcast comes out once a week, so it gives you time to ruminate over it. You can think about things. You can, sort of digest what she's saying with a lot more ease than perhaps you can with mine. I know mine feels like a fire hose. Hey, Tracy, shout out to you. But I encourage all of you who have not had a chance to listen to Humaning Well, take a listen. Incorporate it into your meditation times. Incorporate it into your efforts to be a better person. Right? That's something that we should all be striving for, especially right now. But we got a lot to get to today. Lots of good stories to cover, and today's Epstein Day. I almost forgot. I was like, something big is supposed to be happening today. Yeah, the files are supposed to be out, child. Now they got until midnight tonight. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know if it's really going to happen. It's supposed to happen. We're going to cover that a little bit. There's some penalties if it doesn't happen. But, when you consider that this is a wholly lawless administration, what's a couple of penalties? They might be willing to eat it. They might. We don't know. We'll find out. But we've heard that Dan Bongino is heading out, Deputy Director of the FBI. We'll talk about that a little bit. And, he was one of them. He was like Kash Patel, the head of the FBI. He was like, Epstein files, when you going to release those Epstein files? And he was a podcaster only. Like that was his thing. He was a podcaster, and that was where he made his claim to fame. And he has recently said that, when he was a podcaster, he was paid for his opinions. We'll talk about this a little more in depth later. But and now, as a deputy director of the FBI, he has a different opinion because he's being paid to be the deputy director of the FBI. These are not serious people, but today is technically a serious day, and so we'll touch on that a little bit. Got a good word from the good sis Tabitha Brown, who's going to be talking with us. But today's news is going to be more about the lessons that we have learned from this year. Lessons like hold people accountable. That'll be lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 will be don't believe their lying lips, also known as watch what they do, ignore what they say. Lesson number 3 will be for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Maybe. And lesson number 4, most importantly, is their truths are not our truths. And that's very, very important.